Welcome back to Control Forward. In the last episode, we talked about how free speech doesn't mean free cruelty. But let's go deeper because people are still confused, especially when they see cases like Roseanne Barr or Jimmy Kimmel, or even their favorite public figure. Some scream double standards, some scream hypocrisy. So let's break this down once and for all, right? What free speech actually protects, what it doesn't, and why cancel culture is not the same thing as a First Amendment violation. The First Amendment says Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. Translation: the government can't jail you, fine you, or punish you just for your opinions, even if they're offensive, hateful, or unpopular. But here's the part that people miss. That protection, that protection is only against the government. It doesn't shield you from losing your job, from your neighbor's disapproval, losing fans, or getting dragged online. Those are social and private consequences, not government punishment. Take Roseanne Barr in 2018. She tweeted that Valerie Jarrett, who is Black, looked like the Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby. Hours later, she deleted it, apologized, and claimed that she thought that Jarrett was white. Still, ABC canceled her show, calling the remark abhorrent and inconsistent with their values. Here's the truth, though. Roseanne wasn't jailed, fined, or punished by the government. Her speech was fully protected under the First Amendment. But ABC, a private company, had every right to decide, we don't want you representing our network. That's not hypocrisy. That's the difference between legal free speech and social consequences. Free speech doesn't mean your boss, your platform, or your audience has to keep you around. Now, I want to be clear, hate speech sucks. I don't agree with it. I don't support it. It should never be normalized or taught as okay. But under the First Amendment, it is still protected speech. Why? Because once we give the government the power to punish opinions, even disgusting ones, it opens the door to them, the government, punishing any opinion they don't like. And that's exactly why it's important to notice the difference between private consequences and government punishment. Now, people, especially on the right, look at this and say, see, the left cancels us, but protects their own. Hypocrites, double standard. But here's the thing, that's not the real issue. The real line isn't left versus right. It's private consequences versus government punishment. Now let's look at Jimmy Kimmel. He mocked MAGA's response to Charlie Kirk's death. The FCC chair, a government official, publicly encouraged private networks, right, to drop his show. Nexstar and Sinclair, both chasing government approval for billion-dollar deals, immediately pulled him off air. Then ABC suspended him. This is different. This isn't just a company, a private company deciding we don't like this comment for our brand. This is the government leaning on companies to silence someone. That's when the First Amendment does come into play, because free speech isn't just about what you say. It's about keeping the government from deciding which speech survives. So let's make the difference crystal clear, right? As clear as day. Roseanne wrote an offensive tweet. ABC canceled her. Her speech is still protected by law, but she faced private consequences. Kimmel criticized MAGA, and the FCC, a government entity, applied pressure to companies, leading to his suspension. That's not social consequence, private consequence. That's government coercion, a First Amendment problem. Free speech means you won't be arrested, fined, or punished for your words by the government, right? Cancel culture, though, means society decides whether it still wants to support you. They're not the same thing. Now, listen, I get it, right? Getting taken off the air, losing your job, or being canceled online, it sucks. It always feels like being outcasted or alienated. It's embarrassing. It's isolating, and it can feel unfair to anybody. But here's the hard truth, and it is a hard truth, right? But it's true. That's still allowed. Companies, platforms, audiences, they can walk away from you whenever they want. Just like in our personal relationships, people always have the choice to leave. That's what we call a private or social consequence. What isn't allowed is the government taking away your right to speak by force, through fines, through arrest, or official pressure. That's a bright red line of the First Amendment. So let's zoom out and see exactly where the legal lines are drawn, right? What speech is always protected and what speech falls outside of the First Amendment completely. So protected speech, right? Offensive jokes, political rants, hateful signs at a rally. For example, you can say, I don't like cats, yell it up, yell it out. People might boo you, right? The social consequence, but the police can't come and arrest you because you said that, right? The government. What's not protected speech? Incitement to imminent violence. Here's the classic example that people use. You can walk into you can't, right? You can't walk into a crowded movie theater, yell fire when there is no fire, and cause a stampede that hurts people. That's not free speech. That's dangerous conduct disguised as speech. The same principle would apply today. If you stand in front of a crowd and yell, let's burn that store, let's burn it down right now, follow me, or throw rocks at that car right now, that's incitement. That's speech that's designed to spark immediate harm. And the First Amendment doesn't protect it. Two, true threats. I will kill you tomorrow, or I'm gonna punch you after school. Three, harassment, stalking, bullying, right? We're talking about speech that is not protected in the first under the First Amendment. For example, if you follow someone around, keep threatening them or sending them abusive messages, that's not free speech. That's harassment. If you keep calling a classmate names every single day, right? Not just once, that's bullying. That's different from just saying something once. Obscenity, number four, right? Obscenity and child exploitation materials. For example, the First Amendment, it doesn't protect it doesn't protect child pornography or sexually exploitative material. That's a crime, not speech. Think of it this way, right? Some things aren't just offensive, they're illegal because they cause real harm, especially to kids. And number five, fighting words, direct insults designed to start a fight. Outside of these categories, most speech tends to be protected. But I got banned on Twitter. That's not the First Amendment. That's platform rules. But in Europe, they arrest people for hate speech. True. Other countries, they criminalize hate speech. The US doesn't. Here, even hateful speech is protected to stop the government from picking which ideas are allowed. If we want hate speech laws, it would take a constitutional amendment. The Supreme Court has been crystal clear. Hate speech is protected. So the real question is, do we trust the government to decide what's too offensive? Or, right, do we trust ourselves to fight bad ideas with better ones. So the next time someone screams hypocrisy, remember this. Free speech isn't about whether a network cancels a show. It's about whether the state can put you in handcuffs for your words. Roseanne faced backlash from a company. Kimmel faced pressure from the government. That's the difference that matters. So, like always, like, comment, and subscribe so we can continue learning together and not get tricked even by our own government. This was never just about Roseanne or Kimmel. It's about us and making sure we understand where the real lines are. That's Control Forward.